Welcome back to MotionPic Recap. Today we're going to recap the action and comedy movie titled, The Chase. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. In the first scene, a man called Jack pulls up at a gas station in a 1989 Silver Volkswagen Rabbit and enters the convenience store. A woman is seen briefly looking through magazines while Jack buys a candy and a lottery ticket. He then turns around and makes a brief eye contact with the woman. Simultaneously, a police car pulls up at the station and two cops walk into the store, whose presence makes Jack nervous. Since there is something wrong with the cash register, the woman and the cops enter the line before he can leave. Suddenly the cops hear that a 1989 Silver Volkswagen Rabbit has been stolen on their police radio and immediately suspects Jack. To escape, Jack then grabs the woman and yells at the police to not draw their weapons, using his candy bar pressed into the woman's back to trick her that he has a gun. He orders the cashier to grab the two officers' guns and to put them in his pockets, which he does, and as soon as he has received them, Jack switches his candy for a real pistol. He then tells them all to lie on the ground as he drags the woman out to her car and hastily drives away. Meanwhile, a few blocks away, a film producer and his cameraman are doing a police documentary and have joined Officer Dobbs, who's driving, and Officer Figgis in their patrol car. Suddenly, they hear about a hijacked late model red BMW with an armed and very dangerous man holding a woman hostage on the police radio. Dobbs and Figgis are close and so begins to pursue. Meanwhile, in the BMW, Jack asks the woman, who is continuously making a whimpering sound, to grab the wheel while he removes his jacket. He tells her to stop doing the noise since he will let her out as soon as it gets safe, but she can't help it. Jack activates a cigarette lighter while asking how she can afford a car like that, to which she answers, still whimpering, that her father gave it to her. Out of the blue, the woman suddenly grabs the cigarette lighter out of the socket and burns Jack on his neck, after which Jack yells at her. At the same time that they accidentally drop the lighter in the seat, which causes smoke to start filling the car, Dobbs and Figgis spot them. Jack yells at the woman to grab the lighter, which she does, but also throws it out the window, making Jack even angrier since he now can't smoke. A high-speed car chase then ensues. Meanwhile, Dobbs is commenting for the documentary that if they let the BMW out of sight, they may never see the woman alive again. In the middle of driving fast on narrow roads and in chaotic traffic, the producer calmly starts asking the two officers what they like most about being cops, to which Dobbs answers it makes him feel like a combination of Bruce Springsteen and Sylvester Stallone, which he likes. In the BMW again, the woman tells Jack she gets carsick and feels like throwing up, and wants Jack to slow down. But Jack explains you can't slow down when being chased by cops and tells her to put her head out the window. She does, and she pukes, and hits Dobbs's and Figgis's car. Figgis requests backup, but is informed all other cars are at a captain's funeral. Meanwhile, at the police station, Chief Boyle is informed the car belongs to Miss Natalie Voss, the one and only daughter of Dalton Voss, the richest man in California. Chief Boyle then yells they ought to have 20 cars pursuing, and demands using cars from the funeral. Dobbs simultaneously tells the producer they really struck gold today. Back in the car, Jack tells Natalie they are going to Mexico to escape, and she screams asking him to let her out. They get up on the freeway and accelerate. Dobbs gets angry since the freeway causes the stakes to be heightened. A news reporter covering something else suddenly spots the chase from a helicopter and broadcasts it. Suddenly, they catch up to a medical school truck that starts swerving uncontrollably, causing cadavers to spill out on the freeway, one landing on Dobbs's car, which Figgis tries to get off. Natalie screams now and then, and Jack almost gets a heart attack every time. She asks Jack to put away the gun, which he does not, but explains he's a quite likable guy when he doesn't have one, which she doesn't believe. A police helicopter joins the chase and Jack can't understand how things always go so wrong for him, and Natalie says he might be bringing it on himself. Jack suggests they get to know each other, saying his name is Jack, but Natalie won't tell him until he puts away the gun, which he now does, and she tells him it's Natalie Voss. Jack is surprised and realizes that the police now will think he kidnapped her to get Dalton Voss's money, but Natalie doesn't believe that he didn't know who she was before. Panicking, Jack is trying to convince himself he didn't actually kidnap anyone, but Natalie reminds him she is still there, having been abducted. Simultaneously, the news finds out Natalie Voss is in the car and reports that the kidnapping is probably for ransom. At the police station, Dalton Voss arrives with his new wife, furiously yelling at Chief Boyle. Soon they find footage of Jack, and learn he has been sentenced for an armed bank robbery, having escaped guards during a prison transfer. When Dobbs and Figgis hear this, Dobbs says this is really bad, but the producer is extremely happy, saying this is great. The cops continuously describe Jack as a lunatic, creep, and dangerous man. As Jack sees the police bringing out guns, he takes the pistol and shoots a tire on a cop car, causing it to flip over. The news then speculate Jack is an ex-Marine because of his good aim. However, in reality Jack is shocked that he hit something, since he didn't even mean to shoot, it just went off. Jack mentions to Natalie that he hates violence, but Natalie remarks she thinks he is the very definition of the word. Jack then grabs her wrist, yelling that he is driven to violence, not an actual violent man. Finally Natalie calms down and asks who Jack really is. Jack explains he was convicted of a crime he didn't commit and that the system didn't believe him, telling her he expects no more from her. She confirms she doesn't believe him either. All of a sudden, the telephone in the car rings, and on the other end is Chief Boyle telling Jack on speaker mode to pull over to the side, which Jack refuses. Dalton then takes over and threatens to kill Jack if he hurts Natalie, but Jack gets Natalie to tell her father she's fine. Dalton asks how much money Jack wants, but Jack says he doesn't want any. As Dalton offers $50,000, Jack bluntly asks if that's all his daughter is worth to him, being a billionaire. Dalton begins blaming Natalie for everything, and she has to apologize. But then Jack cuts in and gets furious at Dalton, telling him no one blames one's daughter for being kidnapped, and that he should be ashamed for making her feel worse when she's already going through a crisis, and then hangs up on him. Natalie looks at Jack stunned for what he did, telling him no one has ever talked to her father like that. Jack says it's because everybody wants something from him, including her. She denies it, but Jack recognizes she wants to be treated like a woman by her father and not like a little girl, which she confirms is true. Natalie soon mentions she hates her stepmother, having married Dalton for his money, as well as her real mother who's more a friend than her mother, saying she's frustrated and wants to leave them all. Suddenly, Jack's attorney sees Jack on the news and calls Chief Boyle to get the BMW's phone number to speak with Jack. Meanwhile, the news starts speculating Natalie must be tied up in the car and absolutely terrified. But Jack and Natalie seem to start having a good time, singing to music on the radio. Suddenly the phone rings and it's Jack's attorney Ari, who says they can figure something out since he is innocent, but only if he pulls over. Jack says he can't do that, but expresses gratitude that Ari always believed in him. Natalie hears everything and starts to feel bad for Jack. Suddenly, the phone rings again. This time it's a man from Channel 9 News who wants to ask what he'll do when he runs out of gas. Jack yells at him that Natalie's fear and his own desperation should be entertainment enough, and destroys the phone. Simultaneously, loaders and a SWAT team are being deployed at the Mexican border. In the car, Natalie shares a piece of gum and asks Jack why he is running. Jack explains he was doing a gig as a clown for kids' parties a while back. He was at home watching baseball when someone on the other side of town robs a bank in a clown suit. An old woman in Jack's neighborhood tips the police, and as the cops arrive and find his clown suit, they arrest him. Ari told him they don't put innocent people in jail, but he was obviously wrong. Natalie tries to imagine him being a clown, when suddenly a monster truck tries to sideswipe them. It misses however and flips over, after which the two drivers who tried to be heroes get out just in time before the vehicle blows up. At the same time, Ari is being interviewed about Jack's robbery and why he was found guilty in the robbery case, and Ari explains that the real robber accidentally cut his hand on the crime scene, leaving blood that was found to be type A. Jack's blood is type B+. But because the sample was collected improperly, it was considered invalid evidence in court. Back in the car, Natalie asks Jack when he got sentenced, and he replies it was yesterday. She now figures out that this is why he had stolen a car and was running, and why he freaked out and grabbed her as the cops entered the convenience store. She tells Jack that she believes his story now. Meanwhile, Dobbs is blabbering, telling the producer that he has almost telepathic abilities and sees himself as a prophet since he can almost bust someone before they even do a crime. Figgis looks at Dobbs like he is insane. Suddenly a news van drives up alongside the BMW to get a glimpse of Natalie's condition, but the cameraman accidentally drops the camera as the driver makes a sudden move to avoid a crash. Later Natalie tells Jack she has had a good share of boyfriends, but all have ended up being losers. Natalie also reveals she thinks she's a basket case herself, but Jack immediately assures her he could tell straight away she was a sophisticated woman as they shared the momentary eye contact at the gas station. She comments about their first interaction and tells Jack he pushed his gun unnecessarily hard into her back. Jack explains there never was any gun, only a candy bar, and picks it up. Natalie starts laughing, after which they share the candy together. While the news remarks how easy it is to forget that Natalie must be absolutely horrified inside the car, we see Natalie caring for Jack's burn on his neck, telling him she's sorry. Natalie then expresses she's never met anyone quite like Jack before, asking if he has a wife or girlfriend, to which he replies he doesn't. She then starts kissing him, saying she's falling in love. She climbs over and sits on Jack's lap, kissing him passionately while he's driving. Figgis notes there is 10 miles to the border, and Dobbs asks rhetorically and irritably why Jack is swerving around so much on the road. 9 miles later, the sun has set, and Natalie suggests that Jack should extort her father, so they can cross the border and live a comfortable life together. Jack says it might work, and Natalie tells him happily this is all very romantic. They arrive at the border and Jack has to slam the brakes to not crash into the loaders, and as he comes to a halt, he reverses quickly and turns around to drive against the traffic. Chief Boyle is raging as the police are in disarray. Jack then steers off the road, through a gate, and into an oil field, all while Natalie is laughing of ecstasy. The police follow and they all end up driving in a circle. News commentators express they hope Jack is put away for a long time for toying with the cops. Jack asks Natalie if she is serious about going with him, which she is, being excited they will become fugitives. But Jack then suddenly stops the car, and the police surround them. Dobbs and Figgis get out, yelling at Jack to step out of the car. Jack tells Natalie he cares too much about her to ruin her life, and Natalie gets saddened. Jack puts the gun in Natalie's purse, thanking her for believing in him, and tells her to step out and walk away. She sheds a tear as Jack kisses her hand, after which she steps out. Figgis leads her behind a police car and tells her she's really lucky to be alive. Dobbs thinks out loud and hopes Jack tries something so he can shoot him. Jack lights a cigarette in the car and begins pondering about all the events from the day, the kidnapping at the convenience store, the car crashes and the big explosions, and of course Natalie. He then steps out with one hand behind his back, seeing all the police yelling at him, and then suddenly throws his hand up in the air formed as a pistol and points at the police. He immediately gets shot at and falls down to the ground bleeding. But then moments later we see Jack still in his car, having imagined everything. Instead he gets out with his hands in the air and allows the police to arrest him, all while Dobbs is telling him how much he'd like to kill him. Dalton arrives and walks up to Jack, punching him in the face. The documentary producer and cameraman runs around filming everything with excitement. Natalie tells Dalton that Jack is innocent, but he ignores her and walks away. Natalie then sees the producer and cameraman, picks up the gun from her purse, fires a shot in the air, getting everyone's attention, and then takes the producer hostage, telling the police to free Jack. As the cops try to stop her, she shoots at a helicopter that blows up, showing she's serious. They reluctantly uncuff Jack, and the two head to a news channel helicopter and hijack it. Dalton looks totally speechless when he sees the duo take off, and Jack's lawyer Ari is seen laughing, watching everything play out on TV. In the last scene, we see Jack and Natalie sunbathing on a nice beach in Mexico, seemingly having a great time together. The end. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this and hit the like button to help us out. Until next time, take care.